Hello, I thought I'd just show you a couple of watercolour-y things today. I'd got these new watercolours last year from Isaro, Maimeri Blu, and then I'd got some of these Daniel Smith watercolour sticks. I think I said in my last video that I need to reorganise my watercolour palettes. So in advance of getting everything sorted, I poured out the Isaro and Maimeri Blu paints into half pans. And then I chopped a section of the watercolour sticks that I don't already own in tube form, and I popped them into these half pans. So I put a little bit of extra water in, this is last night, and then this morning when I've squidged them down, the stick's gone nice and squidgy, so that won't fall out of the half pans now. So I put the new paints into their place in my watercolour folder. I was a bit surprised about where the Isaro Mindy Green goes, because I had it in my head that it was greener, more like a green gold, but it actually sat closest with the gold ochres. So that was that one. And then another of my new ones was the powdery pink from Isaro, which is here, closest to the Daniel Smith red fuchsite, but not really that similar, or maybe duochrome hibiscus. And this is the boreal blue, so I've just popped it nearest to the other granulating purples that I've got. It's absolutely lovely. Considering it's PB29 and pearlescence, it's quite a purpley one, ever so pretty. This Isaro, it actually looks more green today. It's the Isaro Eternal Summit, and it's this beautiful, beautiful kind of O'Donnell pale turquoisey colour. And this is Nordman Green. It's PG7 and PV16. And it's not really like anything else. I just popped it there really. Then I've got the stick of Daniel Smith's Serpentine Genuine, which is this one here. Popped it with the kind of bright granulating greens. Yeah, in my mind, the Mindy Green was closer to these colours. There it is there, but you can see it's actually a lot more yellow. Then I also added in the Daniel Smith Piemontite. That was the stick I had. Kind of ready looking one. Again, I was surprised at how close that was to like the Caput Mortuum colours. And then Daniel Smith Lunar Black. That was another stick. Just this lovely, lovely granulating, but kind of transparent at the same time, black. And then the last one I added in was this Maimeri Blu's Payne's Grey, which is really, really blue for a Payne's Grey. And I really can't figure out what pigment it's made of. in different online shops it's written down as different things. On their website they just say Indico Sintetico, which I'm assuming is synthetic indigo, Vat Blue 1. So yeah, I'm not sure what the actual pigments are in that Payne's Grey. I don't really mind, it's a really nice one. So I've been feeling a little bit frazzled today, and looking through these colours was just really soothing and nice. And all I wanted to do really was just kind of play with watercolours in a really easy, like relaxing way, without having to kind of concentrate on painting anything in particular. So I decided to paint some kind of seascapes. So it's barely painting anything with any form at all. But I just thought I'd paint a couple more now with you and just suggest it as an exercise of enjoying the watercolours without stressing too much about producing a piece of art. I just think it's so nice to see like what the watercolours do and how they move. I've just grabbed this pad of Baohong. I think this is the professional version of their cold press watercolour paper that I've not tried out yet. I've just removed the protective top coat, and it's very, very textured. It looks nice. I'm not sure if you can see that. So I'm just going to divide my paper up. So I can paint 4 little seascapes. I've grabbed my Roman Szmal watercolour paints. I think these are on offer again at Jackson's Art at the moment. So I'll link to them in the description box. So what I've been doing is grabbing a slightly lighter blue, but mixing it up if I feel like it. So I'll probably take this cobalt colin blue and maybe mix in a little bit of this cobalt deep blue for a bit of extra warmth. And I'm just going to paint the top quarter kind of horizontally. So I'm just mixing the paints on the paper and using plenty of water. And then for the lower portion of the sky, I'm picking a peachy colour, in this case the tint. And just blend it in with a bit more water. And then while my sky's still wet, I've taken a bit of paper towel and rolled it up. And I'm just going to take out some clouds. So just wherever you fancy, really. My aim in this is not to produce like a work of art. This is just for the joy of playing with watercolour, really. And then for the next section is the sea, so I'm taking a darker blue. I'm using cobalt cerulean blue for this. And I'm not going to touch the sea into the sky, I'm just going to keep a slight dividing line there. Add a load of water. And then I'm going to add a deeper colour in it just to add some variety in the sea. And I thought I'd just play around with using a purple. This is Shadow Violet. I've come lower than I meant to, So I'm just going to rub out this line. And this one can be slightly bigger. And just to suggest a bit of light reflecting off the sea, I'm leaving a couple of areas of the paper showing through. And then at the very bottom, I'm just going to give a hint of beach, and just use, well, you can use any colour you want really. I'm going to add a bit of quinacridone maroon for warmth. And I'll just mix a bit of brown in. This is Cyprus burnt umber. And I'll let it touch the sea in a couple of places. Oops. And that's it really, that's all I'm doing, just to have the opportunity to play a bit. So I'm just going to do the same thing again for the other three, but I'll use different colour combinations just to play with some of my other paints. So for the next one, I'm getting out my portable painter palette, and these are the colours I've got in here. So let's have a look. I'll use the cobalt blue for the sky on this one, and I'll use, instead of a peachy colour, maybe I'll just try using the opera rose for like the sunset kind of colour, or I could even do a mixture of the vermilion red and the opera rose. We could have a brighter sea. I guess I could do a bit of cobalt turquoise light, a bit of phthalo turquoise, maybe Payne's grey just to darken it a bit. And then I've got this gorgeous transparent red oxide, and I could maybe put a bit of yellow in it. I'll see how it goes. Some Morelloni. It's kind of rubbed off, but these are all a Gallo and Winsor Newton paints in this palette. So for my next one, I've grabbed my little Etchr palette, and looking at the colours in it, I'll go with Holbein Verdita for the sky, and maybe with Potter's Pink, maybe Potter's Pink with a bit of yellow in it for the sunset, and then a mixture of French ultramarine and boreal blue for the sea, or maybe a bit of a Nordman green. And then for the beach, I could have something like quinacridone deep gold, burnt sienna, buff titanium. Or if I'm going with sticking with the pinky theme, I could have like some naphthalmide maroon. Then for the last one, I'll have a play with this Winsor & Newton palette that I've got. So I've got a Winsor & Newton cerulean blue. Maybe put a darker blue in for the sea. A Gallo's indanthrone blue. I've got ultramarine. Maybe rose doré for the sunset colour. And I've got a couple of browns I can use for the beach. So a few different colourways there, but really just a way to let me play in a kind of low pressure, enjoyable way. Next I decide I want to use some white Holbein gouache to add a sun and some light on the waves. Once the paint's dry, I guillotine down the paintings into card-sized pieces and use a tape runner to attach them. So I've turned all the little paintings into cards now. I thought I might as well not waste them. They're not amazing works of art, but they're certainly fine for sending the odd note to someone. I hope that's maybe inspired someone to get their watercolours out and just have a play and not worry too much about the outcome. I think just playing with the colours and seeing how they interact with each other can just be a really peaceful, enjoyable activity to do. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!